Hey, happy Wednesday. It's your girl, Martisha Sherman, the unapologetic therapist. Wishing you a happy Wednesday. Today is July 16th. So much stuff has transpired over the past couple of days. I am so excited about this Saturday's event. I got so much to talk about, so many details to give you on information that is being provided. When I say I'm excited about this event, when I say that there's nothing on God's green earth that could discourage me about this Saturday, because God is so faithful and He is so great. And in my tenure of being an entrepreneur, and I've been an entrepreneur since 2007 ish. When I got laid off from a company that I was working for back in the 2000s. I started in 1999, I believe, from a major check processing corporation. And I learned how to grow and learn. I was getting paid to learn and I enjoyed it. And that major corporation allowed me to meet some fabulous people, some great people that I'm still connected with right now to this day. But when I say this event is for the community, I am so excited because it's given me an opportunity to really reach outside of my inner circle and to talk to people who otherwise would not have conversations with me about mental health when it's dealing with family, friends, relatives, and whatnot. So, again, this podcast, this platform was created for you, the viewers, you, the clients, you, the individuals, you, so you can take the word and spread it. Like Habakkuk 2, when it says write the vision and make it plain. And when you write the vision, you're writing it so you can give the information out to individuals so they can run out with it and it will not tarry. So, what I truly enjoy about it is I know how to separate personal from business and personal from life. And a lot of people that come to me want to know about the work-life balance. And this week actually gave me a reality check. And the reality is I don't need to be on my soapbox when it comes to our community and our culture and things that go on and things that transpire within our culture, because when you want it, you want it. When you don't, you don't. So when I say this platform and this episode, these episodes, I'm going to start replaying, bringing those things back. These episodes were created for informative information for the viewers to be able to go back and maybe you missed something and you need to see it, or maybe something happened and you didn't get a chance to review it. You can find us on all social media platforms. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. If you're not one of our YouTube subscribers, go to our YouTube and subscribe. Like, share, subscribe, because like I said, if it's not for you, it's not for you, but it could be for somebody that you may care about so deeply that you want them to be mentally healthy and mentally sound and mentally stable. So my for me as the unapologetic therapist, and when I introduce myself, it's not to be so harsh or to say, hey, I know everything about mental health. I don't. I do have a therapist. I was just asked the other night when I was talking to someone and we were having a conversation and they were like, when was the last time you had a session? And I was like, I just had a session the other day. And they was like, well, it seems like you need another session. Well, I know that I do, and I enjoy my sessions because it allows me to take my therapist hat off. It allows me to be Martisha. It does allow me, I can take off the unapologetic therapist and be myself with whom I am having service or session with. So again, this platform was created for the individuals to watch, and we're getting ready to expand. We're expanding. You're going to see us on, we're getting ready to be on Spotify, Apple, We're working on our platform, so you'll be able to ride and listen and not always watch, drive, and listen. You'll be able to hear things that we talk about. I'm also expanding to where I'm going to actually have someone else who's going to be on here with me that's going to talk about mental health, so we can iron sharpens iron. I really enjoy it. That's why I asked for guests, and the guests to be able to come into the room and talk about things that they are specialize in. Just like I just had the young lady who just came on from a bold story never ends. And she talks about, the things that she specialized in and being a therapist herself. So I leave this platform open because, again, a lot of people think, are they afraid of the unknown? And therapy has been a fear of the unknown. So some people take therapy, and what they do shop therapy. They go and buy shoes, buy clothes, buy those things to make them feel good. But you're feeling good on the outside, but we're talking about the inside, the things that you internalize within yourself. And a lot of times those internalization of things cause us to have different forms of behavior, different ways we respond. Just like I say on every episode, when you know better, you do better, and you respond better. So today's episode, we are talking about unspoken truths, the silent struggles of mental health in a community of color. Last week, I talked about the indigenous part of the culture, us being Black, brown community, the indigenous things that are going on, how we are one who do not think that therapy is important when it truly is an important thing for us. And it's called talk therapy. When you hear therapists, we're talking about talk therapy. We're not pointing our finger at you. We're not saying no, 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 no. But what we are doing is we're challenging the behavior. We're giving you things to consider when you're responding to certain situations in life. And that's what we do as therapists. We're here to re-invoke those things that, a lot of times we're like, did I make the right decision? Did I make the right decision in marrying someone? That's why we have different types of therapists. We have LMFTs. We have myself, which is LPCA. We have LMSWs. We have all these letters that we have behind our names are part of something that, we want our audience to know that we specialize in those things. I'm a licensed professional counselor. Then you have a licensed marriage and family counselor. Then you have a LMSW, licensed social worker. You also have supervisors. We grow through this process so we can make sure that we're available for the community. We're first responders out there for rapid response, like the seasonal citizen young lady who decided she wanted to sit inside of traffic on 45. So we respond to things like that. We respond to behaviors so we can find out what is clicking with the brain and what has not been resolved, or what is the resolution that we can come up with. We're problem solvers. We're not here to just coach you through stuff. We're actually problem solvers. We're going to find a resolution. That's why I say, when you come to me as a participant of what I do in the mental health, we're flipping rugs. I just made a statement the other day, because I'm also signed up with Christian counselors. And I love ministry when it comes to mental health. That's why the name of the company, Why He Can't, came from Romans 2:11. God has no respect of person. So if he can help me, who has attempted suicide twice as a teen and as an adult, why he can't help somebody else? That's why he can't came about. And it came about with me understanding that I needed to talk to somebody outside of everything else. I needed talk therapy. I needed someone to hear let me talk it out and hear what I'm saying as to the reason why I feel like I needed to end my life, or the reason why I acted in such a behavior. So, and not um tell me because I did these things, this happened, but they will tell me the truth. I'm a truth person. Tell me the truth. Don't sugarcoat nothing for me. Don't make it seem so easy, because if you make it seem like it's easy, I know that you're lying to me. And it's only so far you can go when you're lying to me. So today I want to talk about breaking the silence, the cultural stigma of mental health, and we're going to explore expectations, generational trauma, systematic barriers contributed to silence around mental health, and what it takes to dismantle the stigma. So I brought up some topics, and in bringing up those topics, when I say generational trauma and when we say cultural expectations, let's go to cultural expectations. As a culture, we have these high expectations of, I need to live this lifestyle that is beyond me. And a lot of times it causes stress. It can cause depression. It can cause sadness. It can cause so many different things, especially if your mental is not prepared for those things, especially mentally, if you're not in the right headspace to be able to manage money, to be able to manage a business, to be able to do things. What if life, like they say out here, life start lifing, and things start transpiring and things start happening? You lose a loved one, you lose a family member, you get divorced, you have to move out of state for your job, you got to do all these different things. Then who do you go to? Who do you talk to when these things transpire? And because of cultural expectations, when we're expecting to live a life a certain way instead of being in our own lane and being in our own zone, things like that tends to transpire. Even if you have kids, they feel the pressure. Parents, hear me when I say this. Your children, especially, I don't care how old they are, when you're experiencing a life changing experience, your children are feeling that same life changing experience, especially if they're younger and they have to uproot themselves and move somewhere where they don't know nobody. They don't know. They move into a neighborhood. They got to learn friends all over again. They got to go through this whole thing of, I don't know you. I got to go to another school, then go into their new school, meeting a new teacher, this, that, and the other. Same thing if you have to move because a spouse has, left for divorce, or move because someone has passed away. These things in life affect us all. No one is immune to it at all. I'm, for one, I have one living parent. And in the past month, I have experienced so much with that one living parent, which is my dad. And like I said, I'm a dad's girl. Last month was Mental Health Awareness Month. I'm a dad's girl. I love my mom, but I'm a dad's girl. And seeing my dad grow through what he's going through, he's barely touched the surface of age. He's getting ready to turn 72 this year. So seeing him grow through life, learning different things about life, and my expectations is the longevity of life as a culture person. Seeing the longevity of life, and my dad's is going to be here and this, that, and the other. But I had to sit myself down and understand reality of, when you make certain choices in life, they tend to impact your seasonal citizenship later on down the line. So when we talk about generational trauma, things that transpire from generation to generation, what happened with my grandmother, happened with my mom, happened to me, then I have it happen to my daughter. My daughter had it. That is generational trauma that I use, that happened with me. And instead of me getting a healing from it and learning that that's not the proper behavior of how to handle something, then I pass it along to my daughter and she does it to her daughter. Those are generational patterns, generational traumas. And then systematic barriers that contribute. We're talking about things that's going on out here in the economy for the Black and brown culture. I don't know if you notice or not, but so much has transpired with the new administration that's going in politics. I'm not about politics because I'm very unapologetic about when I talk about politics, but things that happened prior to our age and our generation is now being cut out. You have Medicaid being cut out, medical insurance, benefits are being changed. All this stuff is going on that's affecting us that we really have not paid attention to. Medicaid and Medicare, food stamps, and all that was way before we were even born. And that was a way of really training the cattle, the herd, keeping the flow, letting me know the senses of what you got going on in your house, what's going on in your house, how many kids you have. And if anybody knows that's been on the economic system when it comes to food stamps and all this other stuff, they want to know everything that's going on in your house so they can determine and depict on what you can and cannot have. So generational silence, for when we talk about breaking generational silence, historically we've been dismissed and misunderstood as far as our culture. When it comes to the Black and brown community, we have been dismissed. But let something be sold. Let a product get out here and it's brand new. We are really determined to get and purchase those things without thinking first and determining how is this going to affect us mentally. Because if you get a car and you have not been able to pay a $200 car note, and you buy a Tesla that's like $1,000, and you're not able to pay a $200 car note, then you're stressed. You're depressed, trying to figure out how you're going to be able to manage to purchase this Tesla based off your credit. Because again, I said this way back in the 2000s, our credit scores, and I learned this from a young man at the job. He said your social security number, the first three numbers of your social security number determines your race. And when he said that, I was like, really? So he was like, yeah, if you notice how the social security numbers run, it determines your race. If you're in this 400 bracket and you're in this 600 bracket, then your social security number determines your race. And I was like, that's very odd and strange that someone would say that. But if you really look at it and notice, as soon as you give your social security number up, it's already, because you're born with, I think it's 3 or 4 different numbers. Well, 4. You have your birthday, you have your social security number, then you have your SPIN or your TDC number is already determined when you're born. And then you have your death date, but don't nobody even know when you're going to decease. But those top 3 numbers, your birthday, your social security number, and your TDC or SPIN number is already determined. That SPIN number just really threw me for a loop. But when it comes to our culture, the Black and brown culture, the strong Black and brown person myth, the pressure to appear resilient, and how dangerously vulnerable it is. We don't know how to be vulnerable because we are too afraid of the unknown. We don't know what vulnerability really is because we're thinking somebody's going to take that information and use it against us. When it comes to myself as a licensed professional therapist or licensed professional counselor, I want you to be vulnerable with me because I'll tell you, I can't help you unless you're willing to open up and share with me what it is that you need me to know and understand about why you're here. One of my biggest questions I ask before I even have a session with a client, what is your main purpose? What is your idea of a therapist? And a lot of times they don't have a clue, but they know I need to talk to somebody about something that's going on in my life. So a couple of weeks ago, I talked about faith versus therapy and how they both coincide with each other, what you believe and what you think, the tension between spiritual coping mechanism and professional mental health support. there is great tension between that, because you hear so much, and we've heard all our life, let's pray about it. Let's pray about this thing. Prayer, prayer, prayer. But if you are a strong believer of faith, there's a scripture that says prayer without works, faith without works is dead. So you using your faith for healing means that I need to pursue, I need to move forward, I need to do something that's going to help me heal. I can pray all I want, but I need to also talk and speak to someone to help me in my healing, because my thoughts are my thoughts, but I need to control my thoughts, because my thoughts sometimes get me in a pickle, or in a situation where I'm like, okay, I need to speak to someone. Therapy is a safe space. Therapy, I'll say this again. Therapy is a safe space, especially when you're connected with the right therapist. When you find that person that's going to be real with you, when you find that person that's going to be like, okay, I am here. I'm your sounding board. Let's talk about this. Let's get this done. Let's talk about what's going on. Let me find out what is what, and finding the right language of access. Finding the right language, asking the right questions. And a lot of times we don't know how to ask the right questions. Just like going inside of a doctor's office and you're wanting to know, you're having these signs and symptoms, but you're asking a doctor, you're too afraid to tell the doctor what's really going on, but for fear of the unknown across the board, the fear of the unknown. So how the lack of confidence, how the lack of culturally relative terminology and resources hinders open dialogue. Talk to me. I can come from all different sides of the spectrum when you're talking about, open dialogue. I'm open to conversation no matter what language you talk. If you're saying, hey, I want to talk in this type of fashion, I can go from talking proper to talking a different type of way. I meet my clients where they are. That's my thing. I meet the individuals where they are. And I would say a lot of times when I would have a session and we were talking, I was like, sometimes I could be a part of the cursing ministry. And please forgive me when I say, because I'd be like, what the, and when did that happen? And a lot of times we have to watch our facial expressions, because my face would tell it all. My face would tell you it'll curse without me even having a curse. So, but I enjoy, because I'm going to bring some laughter into it. And sometimes it may not be a laughing situation. Sometimes there's tears, and unapologetically stop saying, I don't want to cry. Stop saying, I'm about to cry. Cry. Because again, you have tear ducts for a reason. You have all these things on your body as an element for a reason. You were created in a human form to be able to display emotions, feelings, which we know feelings can sometimes not be true. Emotions. If I show you my hat, I'm enjoying my hat that I created from Disney on Inside Out. I'm gonna get it when I show you this other stuff that's going on. But being able to talk about the impact of what's going on here now in the community. I was just listening today in the visible wounds that we encounter. Also sharing a narrative, ways individual organizations are challenging stigma and normalizing mental health conversations. I say this over and over again. Let's normalize talking about mental health. And you will see, once you start normalizing stuff, it's so easy to talk about. You'll be able to easily talk to someone and express your concerns and your desires and what it is that's bothering you so deeply, and not always taking it to your family, friends, and loved ones, because again, you don't know what they're dealing with and how they're processing stuff. And if you are a true friend, if you are a true relative, if you are a true person that really cares about someone to that capacity, let them know it's okay to reach out to a professional that can easily help them and guide them and give them resolutions to those problems that they feel that is overwhelming and taking up more time and mind space. When it's taking up too much of your space, it's taking up too much head space inside of your brain to you are not functioning to your full capacity when it comes to thought because you're so overwhelmed and consumed with life. So that's when we step in and we give you that foundation. We break up ground, we break up barriers, we break up these generational situationships that we're in when it comes to our mental health. So when we talk about invisible wounds that impact uh, uh, radical trauma or racial trauma and on mental health well-being, um, history, the history of slavery, the history of colonization, the history of displacement continues to echo in the mental health outcomes. We are so far behind on enemy lines, the Black and Brown community. We are far behind on the enemy lines. Not to say that even with our counterparts are holding us back, but mental wise, we are so far behind enemy lines. We put value on things that depreciate soon as we get them, rather than put value on our mind to continue to grow and our mental health to continue to get better. We would rather go and buy things that really do depreciate. I'm talking about the only thing that you could probably get equity in right now is a house or the stock market. And if you're a continual person that likes to continue to work with numbers in the stock market, you can see the value. Of course, there's some good and some bad, just the same as the housing market can go up, it can go down. But we tend to put things in place that really don't hold any value when it comes to our mental health. Because again, we'll buy something and then turn around and feel bad or wonder how we're going to pay something later because we decided to make a purchase or decided to put value on something that really did not hold value for us. There are so many people out here in society, in the world today, that's like, come buy this, come buy this, come do this, come do that, come purchase this. And a lot of times we will make those sacrifices. But is it really a sacrifice? Is it really a sacrifice when you're going to buy something that's not really of value instead of best preparing your mental health for a healthier way of purchasing, a healthier way of seeing life differently, a healthier way to do things and normalizing conversation? Therapy is not as expensive as people think. A lot of times insurance will cover it. A lot of times insurance will expect you to pay a copay. And these copays and deductibles are not high. Now, if you're coming to someone like myself or some of my other colleagues, we do have self-pay. We do have packages. If you want to see us more than so many times a year, you can purchase a package. You can purchase a subscription. You can do these things. And if you find value in it, you have the money to pay for it, then you pay for it up front. And then you can set your own pace. You can set your own schedule. Like for myself, I have coaching sessions where you can join in for a coaching session I have for $300, where you get I think it's like 4 or 5 sessions, and you can space that out in 2 months. But the thing of it is how to change our mentality, how to change our mindset, how to really focus in on what the value is in having therapy, what the value is talking with a psychotherapist. Systematic negative, underrepresentation in mental health research, care, and policies. We don't know what we don't know, but that cliche, what we don't know won't hurt us, is a lie. What we don't know will hurt us. It hurts us all the time. It hurts us every day. It hurts us so much till we constantly are making the same decisions of, I don't know it, so it won't hurt me. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's a lie. Sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will continue to fester up inside of you and cause you to make decisions that are not real good decisions for your life. Um, when I tell people, I don't look like what I've been through. Of course, I turned 54 this year. I was like, oh my God, I do turn 54. I thought it was turning 53, but I turned 54 this year. And I'm excited because I'm learning more now in my years. I make the statement, I have more years ahead of me than I do behind me. Reason being is because I trust the word. It says 120 years, argue me down unapologetically. I will not. And I found the scripture that did say that we're promised or we're given 120 years. It's how you run your life. People are living 100, 110 years old. I may not want, I was like, I want to be like Cicely Tyson at the age of 96 and still wearing heels, living life like that. Because we have to be able to put a strong barrier on our mindset and say, hey, I don't have to live like society wants me to live. I can live and create a whole different narrative of how I want to live. So, how the overlapping identities, sexuality, immigration status, intensify mental health struggles. The law that passed, or the rule that passed for people to be able to be detained and sent back to their native countries, that causes intensity in mental health struggles. Though people leave certain places for a reason. It could be neglect, abuse, or to find a better life. But my thing about that is finding a better life, living the life the right way. But you have to change the mindset of individuals. If they only know how to struggle, there or know how to survive. If they're on autopilot of learning how to survive, then you're going to get that type of behavior. I'm on autopilot. I'm trying to learn how to figure this thing out. I'm trying to navigate through life because I just left a situation and I'm trying to gather my own thoughts of how I want to live. I don't want to live on the street, so I got to do whatever I got to do. And that's all in the mind. Everything starts with the thought. Everything starts in the mind. So, I'm taking a break. I'm going to jump into the things that are going on in the community. First and foremost, I really have to say, I'm so excited about Saturday. I can't wait to laugh with Big Skinny. I can't wait to eat with the people that are coming to the event. I can't wait to do the activities, the painting my trauma on the canvas, the Dear Me letter. I can't wait to enjoy the DJ that's going to be there, DJ Groove, how he's coming on the ones and twos. And we're going to be just doing some dancing, eating, fellowshipping, talking. Also, it's been out there in the community. Churches, organizations have been invited. We have some participations that's coming in. We got some vendors that's going to be there. Of course, we have Texas ABA Center. They're going to be there hosting at a table. We also have a bold story never ends is going to also have a table there talking about their information and what they got going on. But oh yeah, and I'm still a part of the DeSoto Park event that's going on with children, youth, and children and adolescents in the community, and talking to them about mental health and whatnot. And then, of course, after the event, if you have not made it to the event, I will be in the community. Yes, Why He Can't is a sponsor, a proud sponsor of Kids Summer and Kids Summer Food and Clothing, that's being hosted by the Critical Show. We are going to be there in the house. I can't wait to meet everybody. They'll get a chance to meet me face to face, the unapologetic therapist, Martisha Sherman. But here's the thing that I am so excited about. NAG Mindful Therapy. We have a sponsor. NAG Mindful Therapy is based out of, well, they're in Pasadena. I had an opportunity to meet with some great people. I can't wait to collaborate with them. I can't wait to be able to be a part of what they got going on, as well as they've joined in with me about mental health in the community. They do ABA therapy, they do autism treatments, they do adults. I went to the office in Pasadena and I love the aesthetics. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to steal these ideas of aesthetics in my office because it was so therapeutic. And I had a chance to meet some of the great people from this organization, and they reached out to me and said, we like what you're doing. We want to be a part of it. Let's go ahead and build a collaborative relationship. Let's build a friendship or relationship. And that's how I am. I'm not just out here in the community just to do the community. I'm out here building relationships. I'm out here building bonds with community centers that are out here because, again, we know about all these big corporations. We know about all these big businesses, and I dare not say their names because I'm not giving them any type of platform of communication. But uh, I don't like numbers. I like quality over quantity. I'll say this again: quality over quantity. And if you know and you've talked to me before, your girl is in a PhD program. My research is over quantitative research, not quality. I mean, qualitative research, not quantitative. I like the quality of mental health. I want to see a thing through. I already have my dissertation already ready. And I should be getting back into that. I had to take a break because so many things that were going on, but I'm excited. I don't have that much longer to finish. I'm excited about the university that I'm a part of, Grand Canyon University. Woo, go Lopes. Uh, but I enjoy quality. And that's one of my love language, quality time. And it's something about getting the quality care of a situation far passes or go far beyond those who in the numbers. I don't see none of my individuals as a number because I'm going to give you the service that I believe and I want to have, being that I'm talking to a therapist. I want to give you that tentative ear. I'm a listener. And when I listen, I'm not really at the point of internalizing, but I'm listening to hear, not just listening to respond. Because that's the thing with a lot of people. We listen to respond instead of listening to hear what is going on in a conversation. So, with that, I'm like I said, I'm so excited about our sponsor, NAC Mindful Therapy. Went to their Pasadena office. I believe they're getting ready to have an office in Webster. They have another office, I believe, in LaPorte. They're mostly southeast area, but I'm really trying to get them to come on the north side because it's needed all over in the area. And this is a private sector. So, but I really enjoy it. And like I said, the whole thing about being in their office and the aesthetics of how they treat and give the quality of care to the families that are in that area. Of course, I do have a private practice, and my private practice is why he can, where we're bringing faith and mental health um, together to really get a true understanding that mental health actually did start in the Bible. I don't. You can argue me down, but I can show you where it actually started. We can go with Adam and Eve, then we can go with Cain and Abel. We can go with Abraham and Isaac. We can go many different directions. We can go to the guy who kept throwing his body in a fire, because he was being tormented by spirits. But that's pretty much what I would say in that regards. So let's get back on topic. Healing in the community, reclaiming safe spaces, and collective care. So, culturally rooted healing. We're talking about being able to get what it is that you need when you're talking to someone like myself. The role of ancestral practice, storytelling, and ritual emotional recovery. So, a lot of times, we as kids, when I say generational trauma, we hear things that our parents tell us that they've been through as kids and this, that, and the other. And, it's not an acceptable behavior. That's why I said not everybody has gone through childhood trauma. Not everybody has had generational trauma passed down to them either. But those who have had it, you know, you've heard the story, mom said that, she was being molested by a family member. Dad said he was being molested, or different things. Sometimes they're open about it, sometimes they're not. But what I'm finding now is more of my seasonal citizens are becoming more open to mental health therapy. And reason being is because they now are saying this didn't feel right, or something happened and I need to know, why do I feel this way, and why am I, because a lot of them are going back and remembering things that happened to them when they were kids. And now it's like, hey, I need to have this conversation because this didn't sit well with me. And then you have community led initiatives. So we have the grassroots movement. We have mutual aid. We have peer support network, making mental health accessible. Um, that is a goal where you're going to have, most definitely, with Why He Can't, peer support. Other organizations are offering it. But again, like I said, we're all about quality and not quantity, because your healing is very important to me. Creating safe spaces for you is very important to me. So the unspoken truth, those silent struggles about mental health in the community, suicide has been so silent. I was asked to give numbers before about how the count of suicide in the Black and Brown community. It's not counted as much as it is because it's not reported as much. A lot of things are going unreported, and that's why we're not seeing the statistical numbers of what's going on in the Black and Brown community when it comes to suicide, when it comes to overdosing on a drug, or any type of thing when it comes to mental health. Not numbering right now. So for that, we won't get the true statistics about what's really going on, get the true statistics about mental health, and how is mental health affecting our community. Okay, for some reason, my my StreamYard is not staying up to date with what's going on. I don't know if it's Google or whatever is happening, but I'm constantly freezing for some unknown reason. So, um, representation does matter when it comes to our Black and Brown community, when it comes to mental health. Representation does matter. The important purpose, advocate who reflects live experience. You're going to get that from me. You're going to get live experiences from me because share my story. I don't mind telling what transpired in my life. I don't mind giving you, I want to be more relatable and reliable because the quality of service. So when I talk about things that I advocate for, like last Sunday, I was speaking at an event for a family here, talking about what happened um, when he decided he wanted to take his life. What's going on here? In a moment. I'm telling you, my screen just went black. I just really do like technology does whatever it wants to do whenever it wants to do it, but I'm going to keep talking. So, the importance of seeing a therapist and uh, have experiences. We can't help but be where we are and who we are, and that's clients where they are. I meet you exactly where you are, and I'm talking to you and not talking at you. So, safe spaces, creating environments where people feel seen, heard, and validated. That is what I'm doing with this event that's going on Saturday. I'm creating for individuals to be able to and be heard. The Tonight is the Night symposium is about that. It's creating where people can be seen, and that we don't get other couples. So the wife can say, I don't feel validated, or the husband can say it, or sometimes even the children can say, I don't feel prop inside of just here. Nobody's really paying attention to what I'm saying. Heard, seen, but heard it being seen. We want to make it in the right safe space, and not to be judgmental, not towards someone. And um, from isolation, how collective can transform individual um, liberation. Isolation to connection. A lot of people feel isolated when about mental health because they don't know how to talk to an individual and who to talk to about what's going on with their mental health. Um, and that's why, again, this event was created. This event um, and other events that I've done for the love of basketball and mental health. It's all about creating a safe space. It's all about creating a space where we can have conversation because you're not alone. You're not alone when you're feeling sad, depressed, or you're having high anxiety. You're not alone. And creating a safe space and where you could come out of isolation into connection is the reason why I and I'm going to continue to do it. I'm going to these events. I'm going to continue what one thing I know for sure for me, and I'm is I'm God's favorite daughter, and on my heart to do that. Expect my expectation is for him to do what he said, for him to be where he is not into men because I are fickle. One way, next because I'm human. 1 minute you're one way, next minute you're the next way. But when I keep my eyes not my own plan, he always come through. He always do exactly what he says he's going to do because this is him. This is for him. This is for his glory. And I believe that's why the journey that I've been on of all the way up until now of being a licensed professional counselor, getting my PhD in therapy as a counselor is all a part of his plan. And I'm excited as well as a willing vessel. I don't do things for man. Will disappoint. Man will always disappoint. I don't support people because I doing what I do every time when I sow a seed into somebody's business, every time when I sow a seed into somebody's entrepreneurship, I don't expect for return from God, because He's the one who's going to reward me, and He rewards me way greater than man could ever reward me. If ever I won in regards to that unapologetically, to take it when people become offended, off-ended. I remember Pastor Randall said this. Um, when people become off-ended and they end things without getting a full understanding, fire. So if you got a off-ended because I said something in regards, talk to me. Come have a conversation with me, so that you can have a conversation with me. And I'm very humble. I believe in having great humility in what I do, because at the end of the day, I have to be accountable for how. You don't have to be accountable. I have to be accountable. That's why I support people to my heart. I do it from the love of my heart, and I'm going to continue. That's who I am. So again, this event, the tonight is the night to break out of the darkness, break out of the things that we hold so dear, stay in the unknown when we need to know, because what us every day does hurt us. So it's to create an environment where you can be seen, where you be heard, and we want to validate questions. Come with your concerns. If you loved one who has a mental health issue, come sit out and talk to us. I'm having grateful there. Mr. White, Mr. Chris White, um, my vendors and my guests are going to be there talking. We're having a comedian. Big Skinny is going to be there to give us some comedy. We're going to have food catered by Rest and Relax Catering, doing some activity out, enjoy. If you know, being a part, sponsors, I am so excited. I love the fact that you saw exactly on my heart to be able to be a safe space for the community out here. Family, I love y'all all to life. Um, Video is kind of slow motion or whatever is going on. But I'm going to go ahead and end tonight. You know your girl, the unapologetic therapist, Morticia Sherman.